Yeah, hi, Roger Green here from Nite Watches, down here in Portsmouth today at Gunwharf Quays, where the start of the Clipper race will be in a couple of days' time. I'm here on the Team Washington DC boat with the skipper, Ella Hebron. She's going to take me around and have a look at the boat, tell me a little bit about herself and the role that she's going to undertake on this unbelievable 40,000 mile round the world boat race. I'm told by a couple of your crew here that you've done another edition of this race before as a first mate.
Correct.
No doubt now as a skipper, you're going to apply a few of the tricks of the trade that you learned on that trip. Tell me about what you're going to take from the previous trip to qualify you now to control your crew and encourage them to do the things they need to do to win a few legs.
So yeah, I did the last race as a first mate. On that race, I was fortunate enough to work below two different skippers on two different boats. So I saw two very different ways of running a boat and sailing a boat. So I learned an incredible amount from that race, and I learned a lot about team dynamics, and that's what I've taken forward onto my campaign as skipper, is about actually forming a team dynamic and having a good culture on board before we then focus on sailing the boat fast.
Yeah, I would imagine that a very significant part of this, once you know all about the sailing skills and all the navigation and everything else, I would imagine it takes an equal amount of skills of man management and keeping people motivated, organised, staying as friends for the entire journey.
Yeah.
Did you have to do any special training for that at all, or was that just something that comes naturally to you?
It's something that's always come naturally to me, and I've always been very interested in leadership. But we work with Graham and Rob, who are our leadership and development coaches. They give us a little bit of training, but most of it's learning on the job or previous job for me as a first mate, particularly learning how people respond to what you do and what you put out to them.
So this race, I mean, it's a pretty formidable undertaking. You know, some people say it's harder than climbing Everest. What would you say is probably the most daunting undertaking for you during this trip? And which leg would you say is the one that you're least looking forward to?
I wouldn't say there's a leg that I'm least looking forward to. They each have their quirks and challenges and joys. The leg that's seen as probably the most daunting is leg 6 across the North Pacific Ocean. And it's renowned as quite a tough ocean to cross due to the sheer size and the weather that you get in the North Pacific. So that can be a pretty tough one mentally. It's probably the hardest in terms of crew morale and motivation to just keep going when you're cold, wet and tired. But once you then arrive in Seattle, it's one of the most incredible feelings ever, knowing that you've just crossed the North Pacific with your crew and your team.
Unbelievable. I think that's 6,000 kilometers or something.
Yeah, it's around 6,000 nautical miles. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a long slog.
The cold is enough to do anyone's morale, that's for sure.
It's pretty relentless.
How do you personally prepare physically and mentally for something like this? Have you been training physically for months, or do you just already super fit anyway?
I do keep my fitness up as much as I can on shore, but because I sail all the time, my fitness sort of stays at the same level. We do suggest to the crew that they get their strength up and general fitness up. You know, you're having to constantly use all of your muscles when the boat's heeled over. Even lying in your bunk, your core's engaged and working. So the more comfortable that people can be on board by being stronger and fitter in themselves, the better it will be.
Have you questioned all your crew on how fit they are? Because a lot of them, some of them have had a few more years than you have to get unfit.
Yeah. I mean, we have a fairly rigorous training, 4 weeks of training. So they all realise quite quickly if they're not comfortable enough as they are on board, and generally realise for themselves that if they need to up their fitness levels to get them to the point that they can.
Yeah, and I guess during the race, let's face it, if they're doing the whole lot, they're going to be pretty fit by the end of it.
They certainly will be, yeah.
Fit or broken. Could you maybe just take me down and show me the palatial quarters that the crew are going to be dining in and relaxing in during the daytime?
Of course, let's go. This is the dining room. So this is the sail locker. Every single one of our sails are in here at the moment, bar the main sails on the boom, but we've got 10 sails in here. Lots of stowage, but they're not very easy to lift up out this hatch. They're pretty heavy sails. So that's where your strength and fitness comes in. And we're flat at the moment. This is a galley. This is where all the cooking's done, which is quite tricky, as you can imagine, in a rolling sea state. You've got the gimbaled galley that moves as the boat moves, and quite often it'll be sat over like that as we're heeled over. And you're trying to cook on it. Pretty much every cubby you can see all around the boat is full of food at the moment for the victualling for leg 1. So all these bunks up here completely full of food, all the bilges.
Will that last you until Cadiz?
until Uruguay.
So,
Yeah, so
you don't refill into this?
No, we've victual for the whole of leg one, and then we just restock with fresh food in Cadiz. Over 50 days worth of food for 18 people. This is the accommodation. Let's have a look. Heads on the way. Toilet.
Lovely.
Yep. People's bunks. These all tilt, yeah. So you pull them up and down with this little pulley system here. So you can change them as to how much the boat's heeling, and then you can let them down as well and lock them off there. And then you also put your lee cloth up once you're in to keep you nice and snug in there. That is their home for 11 months.
Do they stay on here when you go to port?
Some do and some don't. Some try and get a escape and a normal bed and a shower, but some people do stay on board.
I'd be checking into a 5-star hotel with a spa at that one.
Yeah. We carry on back. This is my luxury skipper's cabin. This is the nav desk. My office. On here we do all of our weather routing, and this is where all the tactics happen.
So tell me, you have to use a watch in a sailing environment? What do you use it for?
Of course, yeah, all of our navigation is based off of time. So watches the time is essential to not only navigation, but life on board and how everyone lives. All of our navigation, all of our chart work requires accurate time. The night watches will come in handy.
So in one day, do you cross over 1 or 2 time zones?
So we're constantly sailing through time zones. So we actually on board almost run our own time zone. So as we sail through different degrees of longitude, we just change the time as we want to, rather than trying to stick to it, because it basically, when we change time on board, people lose sleep. So we try and do it as little as possible. So we actually just change it as to whatever the sun's doing, rather than to the actual longitude.
So on your watch there, would you say on the first leg, how many times would you have to change your watch, or would you not have to change it until you got to Uruguay?
We'd have to check. I don't know exactly how often, but probably 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
Have to change
So you
it.
just have to wind it forward an hour and then
Yeah.
pull the crown out, wind it forward an hour, and then.
Exactly. Yeah.
So this is the engine room.
It's the engine room. Yeah. Pretty snug in here, as you can see.
I mean, you don't have to use this, do you? Only in the event of emergency, or if you've crossed the finish line and you want to just motor into port.
Exactly. Yeah. We hope to not rely on it, but sometimes we have to.
I did see on the Prime series, and one of the lady skippers had to start the engine because there was like a massive
yeah, there was a water spout.
But it was a big one.
It was a big one. Yeah.
And she had to get out of there. But then you have to, once you start the engine, you have to get back to exactly where you started.
Correct. Yeah.
And then go
carry on sailing from there. Yeah.
So now I'm sitting here with our brand advocate, Mr. Martin Cavey, who also happens to be a company accountant for Nite Watches. I've known Martin as a personal friend for many, many years. Done a few adventures together. We've done a lot of skiing. So we have quite a bond together. And when he told me he was doing the Clipper race, first of all, I thought he was crazy because he's done a few other things like this. He said, well, why don't we let's get you involved with the Clipper team and maybe create some special edition watches for the Clipper race. So that's what's happened. So we're now the official timekeepers for the Clipper race for this particular edition. And Martin is our brand advocate. He's on Washington, D.C. team with Ella. So Martin, what inspired you to do the Clipper race?
I've grown up with water. So I've lived on islands. I used to be a swimmer. I've done windsurfing. I've done dinghy sailing. But I also grew up watching the Volvo Round the World Challenge. And I thought, one day I want to be on one of those boats, going through the biggest oceans, with the waves splashing over the deck, getting soaked, all of that adrenaline bit, and also go across an ocean on a yacht, which is something that I would never be able to do on my own because I'm a novice sailor. I'm not an expert. This has been a journey taking me from being a complete novice, not knowing what a winch was, not knowing what a backstay was, to a point that I'm just about to start going across the Atlantic Ocean.
I've got down that you're doing legs 1, 2, and 6.
Yeah.
Now, I've seen the series. Leg 1, leg 2, yeah, that's pretty epic. Leg 6, only you could choose to do the hardest leg and the coldest leg. Is that because you love skiing and you just like the cold, or is it just because you thought it was the big challenge?
I think it's one of these things that is, Clipper described this as the race of your life. So it's a one-off opportunity to do something extreme. And if I was going to do it, I always knew that I wanted to cross the 2 biggest oceans. So one of those is the Atlantic, that's leg 1. I'm fortunate enough that I've been able to land leg 2 back to Cape Town. So I might get a bit of a flavour of the Southern Ocean. But then leg 6 is the, if you like, the big leg. It's the North Pacific. And that's the one that, if you like, is that the daunting one? Yeah, probably. That's the one where you try and put everything together and hope that you're going to be okay.
Which leg are you most nervous about then?
6. Well, having seen the weather forecast for the Bay of Biscay for the coming days, maybe not quite leg 6. maybe also the Bay of Biscay. It's one of those things. You just will get on the boat, we'll get in as a team, and we'll just get going, and we'll make it happen. And we will manage to get through whatever we get through because we're a team.
I've looked at the sail locker at the front there, and it's got your name written all over it. Because I know how much weight training you've done. I know how much fitness training you've done.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, you're looking the fittest I've ever seen you at the moment, which is probably pretty important.
It is.
In all honesty, I'm really proud of you doing this, and I really do wish you the best of luck going round, and I hope you get out of it what you are looking to get out of it. I don't quite know what that is.
I guess it's that sense of adventure. It's that sense of being able to do something that, unfortunate, not many people can do this. You look at the size of this boat and the team that's established, not many people get the opportunity to be able to not only go across an ocean, but to go across multiple oceans. To do that with a group of people that you've never met before. It's a bit like a client meeting that you and I have talked many a time about all sorts of different subjects. And to a certain extent, the same thing applies here. It's getting on with people. It's about talking to them about how things work. What's it going to do? Where's the challenge? What can we do to solve it? And getting there, yes, we would like to win. Everybody here will say that's what they want to do. They want to win. But ultimately, we want to get there safely and to be the best part of ourselves. And that's what this challenge is all about. It's about being that best part of yourselves, which is what the Night Watch is all about. To me, it's about that passion for adventure. It's about the perfection that gets put into that. And you've driven that to this point.
Martin's going to be wearing one of our watches around here. He's going to be wearing one of our Alpha models. I've asked him to specifically put it to the test, which I'm pretty sure he's going to do as good as he can. And as always, do a fantastic job to the best of his ability, because that's what he's always done as far as I've known him. Martin, I wish you all the best on.
Thank you very much.
And I will be following you every inch of the way from the comfort of my lounge.
Look forward to catching up with you when I get back.
First of all, I'm totally proud to be involved in this, and we did it by the skin of our teeth. So it's a brand new model. We haven't even released it yet, called the Alpha Z. The Alpha Z is slimmer and it's got a flatter case back which we can engrave. It is extremely water resistant. The only thing you're going to need to do is to ensure the crown is screwed down. If you pull it once, that changes the date. If you pull it twice, you can change the time. Just keep it nice and clean, stand you in good stead. The fun thing is, I'm in awe of the way to do it. I've watched the video. I ain't signing up. Enjoy.
Really, really cool.
Really, popular. Am I right that you're the youngest one here?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I heard it the other day and I just couldn't believe it.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Charlie?
Thank you very much.
I've got this lovely fancy new watch with my name on, and I'm gonna never take it off for the whole race.
Guy Waite, CV30.
We are experts.
Everybody grab each other's tongue, you know, the classic.
Yeah, understand that one. 2, 1.